All right, y'all, it's your boy Professor X. I haven't done one of these in a while, but here's JBL reacting to his long reputation of being a bully backstage in his heyday, and specifically the incident with Mark Ronaldo. Personally, I think he's full of shit, but you can form your own opinion. But let's give a listen.
Good, thank you. So, John, we have a lot of pro wrestling fans watching this, so you're getting a lot of questions. You can imagine. I'm going to throw a couple at you. Guys, one thing I learned talking to John, especially, I've known John for years, not well, and always have liked you. You never treated me with anything but respect. You've always been so nice to me. And there was always a disconnect between the guy you hear about in this reputation and who you were to my experience. John, why did you have or do you have that rep? And you know what I'm asking you, of course.
Yeah, maybe I could have deserved it. I don't know. We were younger, we broke balls, and I was a loud guy from the South, and a lot of people, I think, took that wrong. I can tell you, like with MAURO, there was never any malicious intent ever toward anything I said toward MAURO, anything I said on camera that was all in character. But, some of it could be deserved. I'm not trying to rewrite my history. I wasn't a saint. We drank a lot back then, and, we ran the roads, and we always loved to crack on each other. It was just part of what we did. And I think a lot of people took that wrong, and some of it could have gone too far. I'm not trying to excuse anything I've done.
Well, there you have it. Okay. We drank a lot back then. It was all in character. Now, me, I have a problem with that. It seems to me, you, like others, can't separate your character from the person who you really are. It seems to me when they get into this lifestyle and get into the business, they take on these bullshit personas, these so-called larger than life characters, and they start to think that's who they really are when they're not. They kind of forget they're human. They're big, got the muscles. Half of them, of course, or more than half of them, do steroids, and it fucks with their psychosis. JBL, I don't care if you drank a lot, and that's the key right there. You drank a lot. You probably drank too fucking much. You're not trying to excuse anything you did. It seems to me like you are, because you're really sugarcoating it here. And when it comes to bullying, that's not something you sugarcoat. Basically, you should come clean and say, you were a straight up asshole. You were a loud guy from the South. Well, we know how crackers from the South are. Well, that's how crackers are all over white America. But anyway, loud guy from the South or not, basically, you were a piece of shit. You did what you did. Of course, you were famous, and you had gotten over. So when the younger guys came along, you basically did what you did, like a lot of people do, like Bob Holly did, only in a different way, of course. But no excuse for that kind of behavior. No excuse. I don't care if you are a loud guy from the South. If you had good parents, and judging by you, I don't think you did. Obviously, they didn't teach you any better. So when you're not taught manners, this is how you turn out. And it seems like people who aren't taught manners become famous. And why is that? I don't know. But all I know is, yeah, you're an asshole. And basically, you're trying to sugarcoat what you did. It doesn't fly with me. And it shouldn't fly with anybody else, especially an educated person. And doesn't whack-ass wrestling entertainment have an anti-bullying theme going on? I think it's still going on. I don't know. Or they have it now. They should have had it back then. But to me, it kind of contradicts, what this man did. But of course, it seems like there's a lot of that going on. So it isn't just JBL. It's a lot of people who did that. Of course, Holly tried that with Brock Lesnar. It didn't pan out too well because Bob Holly got his arm broken. But anyway, let's continue.
This is something, because we were talking about this before we got on the show. Like sometimes because with you, for instance, I read the things about you, and when you get in character, when you're the heel, you're the freaking heel. You commit 100%. You know,
Right.
when I read the thing about Germany, when you walked out and you did the salute and you start marching around, I go, okay, now I got a little bit of an idea what kind of guy he is. And because most of the time when you do that, you get so invested, and sometimes you carry that outside because it kind of feels good. You know, we all like to play the real bad guy, and if it feels good, sometimes it rubs off a little bit in your normal life. You think that's something that happened also there with you?
Yeah, boss. I think there's any doubt about that. You know, when we started, we protected the business 24/7. So I wrestled in Europe for Otto Vance, who was the childhood chum, Otto and Peter William in Austria and Germany. And you had to be in character 24/7. We lived on the parking lots outside of the carnival tents and had to wrestle, and so it wanted us in character all the time, not just in the ring. You know, walk around town, somebody tries to get an autograph for you, you bark at them. You know, and that kind of carried forward. And I'm one of the last groups to have done that. And so, yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that some of that went too far, and some of it was me being in character. And again, I'm not trying to excuse myself. I'm just kind of explaining from my perspective kind of how it happened.
So what exactly happened then with MAURO? What was the thing that went on?
Well, there was a show that we did called "Bring It to the Table." And that was one of the big contentious points. As far as, you know, anything I said on camera, that was 100% in character. Anything I said backstage, I don't think there was anything. I can't speak for MAURO. So there was no malicious intent ever on anything backstage. I thought I got along with MAURO fairly well. But the show Bring It to the Table, MAURO had a travel problem. There was a snowstorm across the country, and he didn't make a show. And I'm not sure what all happened, but there was a snowstorm. He, couldn't make travel. You know, those things happen. During that same time, we did this show called Bring It to the Table. And everybody points to that show as the point of me taking a shot at MAURO. Well, on that show, right before we did it, there was about 3 to 5 minutes we needed for the show. And they said, what can we do? And I said, hey, there's this internet poll that makes MAURO the #1 announcer. Could you do something on that? I said, yeah, of course. So when he went on the show, I did a rant on the show about, no, they're calling MAURO the #1 announcer. He's retweeted it, blah, blah, blah. 100% in character. And people talk about that poll, that I was so jealous of that poll that I went on TV and talked about it. I didn't know the poll existed until right before he went on the show. And that was me. I just assumed MAURO knew that was something I had done in character. In fact, when the show aired, Meltzer, the online guy who does all the backstage news, they said Meltzer's mad at you, and I hadn't heard that name in quite a while because it's behind a paywall, his stuff, so I didn't read it, I didn't keep up with it, and I said, why is he mad? And they said, well, that was his poll. I had no idea. People talk about so much how I was so mad about that poll. I had no idea the poll existed. That was just me being JBL on camera. And I think MAURO took that the wrong way. I hope he didn't. I hope now he realizes that was something that I did that was 100% in character. I saw MAURO, I think a few weeks later. Everything fell out, and I became the bad guy with everything. And I saw him, he was standing for a car, and he was on his phone. I think it was New Orleans. Anyway, I walked across the parking lot, and he was on his phone, so I couldn't talk to him. But I shook his hand, just went across, shook his hand. And he said, how you doing, man? I said, it's good, brother. And just left, just to let him know that there was no ill intent, at least of me toward him. I regret the whole situation. I wish that MAURO had known, for sure. I think that was one of the things that was really upsetting. I know it was upsetting to a lot of fans because they all talked about that show.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Now, from hearing all that horse shit come out of his mouth, obviously tomorrow, I guess MAURO is his name, not Mark. Correction, I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. Anyway, everything he just said just now, he was in character. There was no malicious intent. He says he had no idea that was his poll. I think he had some idea because it was out there on the net, on Twitter, on social media. So he had to have some idea it was out there. Again, JBL sugarcoating what he did. Now the only bad part about this is MAURO is not on this panel to give us his side of the story, and he's never given his side of the story on any social media because he was so distraught, because I believe he suffers, I think, from some kind of bipolar mental illness, and what JBL did in character affected him, and obviously, jackass bitch Layfield here doesn't understand that, and always, I know malicious intent. I saw him, I shook his hand. That was me. I wouldn't shake your damn hand. But I guess since you're 10 times bigger, I guess like I said, you were a bully. So, and the thing is, the nerve to shake his hand after what you did, that's just that's beyond me. Shaking his hand like everything's okay, and saying, and now to have the audacity to say you regret it now after you did it. See, that's the problem with you people. You say you regret it, but you still did it. And to me, just like Terry Bollea and what he said on that sex tape, I don't think you're sorry you did it, because if you were really sorry, you wouldn't have did it in the first place. As a grown-ass man, you could have used your head. I mean, I know you have a job and you're in character, but you can think a little bit on how to really use that character, and use that character with some tact and with some discretion. You had to be a character 24/7. Now, bullshit. When the cameras go down, that damn character should be turned off. I understand about protecting the business, but I think there's a limit or a certain point, within bounds, within boundaries, within reason to protect the business. Don't protect the business at the expense of other people, and especially fans. If a fan asks you for an autograph and you're off camera, ain't no harm in signing an autograph. Now, if you don't want to, that's fine too, but refuse it with some class, with some dignity. Just ignore them or walk away. I mean, people will think you're an asshole, yes, but that's the way it is. I mean, in your case, you're an asshole anyway. Off camera as well as on. That's what I believe, and you prove it here, because once again, all the horseshit you just said, you're sugarcoating it like it was nothing, and I'm this, and I did this, I said this, I was completely being character. I had no idea about this poll. Horseshit. WWE, even back then, had a growing social media network, so you would have had to have known about something, especially since you worked with the guy as an announcer in the first place. So I don't believe that horse shit. But you're a horse's ass. So being that as it may.
Well, at least you're in character, and then on one side you did something right? I mean, you were in character. So yeah, I hope that it's good.
Bullshit. On both sides, he didn't do shit right.
That you walked over. I hope that you guys can mend things also, that he sees it as well, and can just bury the hatchet.
I hope so. He seems like a good guy. And again, if there was anything backstage I ever said to him that he thought crossed the line, there was never any malicious intent.
Again, horse shit. I think a lot of shit you said backstage crossed the line. Like I said, you can spin the bullshit all you want, and like I said, trying to play innocent, sugarcoating it, and believe me, people like you sugarcoat a lot of horse shit, but it stinks to high heaven, and just listening to you talk, your breath smell like shit, because all you got is horse shit coming out of your mouth, and you got shit between your ears. And more than likely, growing up as a loud guy from the South, you're more than likely, especially in high school, probably had shit for brains. I mean, listening to you, I kind of wondered, did you graduate high school? Just a thought.
Our slowest time right before shows is right before we go out. all your homework's done, everything's finished. You're just kind of waiting for the show to start. That's where we sit around and just banter and just crack on each other. And I hope something that I said in that was not taken wrong. And if it was, then I apologize for that. The WWE did a post-mortem on all of it and said that there wasn't, at least from what I heard. I haven't seen the report or anything. So anyway, I have no ill intent toward Mauro. I regret the entire situation because he seemed like a really not only talented, we all know that, but he seemed like a good guy.
Yep.
So the most important thing, so what are you up to right now?
Well, we'll stop it right there. And once again, no malicious. He says no malicious intent. Liar, liar, pants on fire. I mean, here's my thing. I understand any wrestler who gets into the business and who has the dream of going to whack-ass wrestling entertainment. I understand you want to be a star, but you need to stop and think of what that entails and what you might be signing up for. Any future wrestler that wants to get into WWE, this is the kind of bullshit and behavior that's waiting for you. Maybe not from him, and maybe not right now, because of political correctness. But there's always one in there that's going to test you. I remember back on I think it was season 3 of Tough Enough, Matt Cappelletti. Remember that little match all in fun they had, and Bob Holly got in there and started kicking the shit out of him. To me, that was bullying, and he never recovered from that. And of course, we all know what happened with the end result years later. He suffered for it, and of course, Bob Holly was fired years later for his behavior and his mentality, as was Bill DeMott. So, John Bradshaw, JBL, whatever you call yourself, I don't believe you. If I was Mauro, I wouldn't accept your apology. I damn sure wouldn't shake your hand. Things you do affect people a great deal, and not just from when you're a teenager to an adult. Even as an adult, it can affect people. People who might be suffering with bipolar mental illness or emotional problems. This shit is not good. And kayfabe or not, protecting the business or not, people need to think. They need to think before they act. Just think about your actions and what you say and do, and how it might affect other people. So, but y'all let me know in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.